I sat alone at the restaurant, staring at the flickering candle between two untouched plates of food. The waiter had asked twice if I wanted to order while I waited. I kept saying, "She'll be here soon." But the truth was gnawing at me like a rat in the walls. She wasn't coming. It was our 10th wedding anniversary. 10 years of shared breakfasts, whispered promises, quiet struggles and small victories. I'd booked this place 3 weeks in advance, the same restaurant where I proposed to her. But now the only thing I had for company was the growing pit in my stomach and the unread message sitting on my phone screen. "Sorry, babe. Boss invited me to a private dinner. Very important for my promotion. I'll make it up to you, I promise." I reread it, hoping I had misinterpreted the words. Private dinner. On our anniversary. And she hadn't even called. Just a message, sent half an hour after she was supposed to arrive. I didn't reply. I didn't cause a scene. I didn't even touch the wine I'd ordered for us. I paid the bill, left a tip that was too generous for a meal I didn't eat, and walked out into the cold evening air. The first crack. Anna hadn't always been this way. When we first met, she was vibrant, driven, but never cold. Her job as a marketing manager was demanding, but we had boundaries. Dinners were sacred, anniversaries were special, and promises meant something. Lately, though, things had shifted. Her phone was always face down, her makeup a little heavier when she left for late meetings, and her laughter at home less frequent. I told myself I was imagining it. That marriage just had seasons, warm and cold, and this was one of the cold ones. But that night, walking home under the dim streetlights with a bouquet of half-wilted roses in my hand, I felt the first real crack in the foundation of what we'd built. The confrontation that never happened. When she came home past midnight, I was awake on the couch, the TV murmuring to an empty room. She smelled faintly of expensive wine and something that wasn't her usual perfume. "Hey," she whispered like she was sneaking into a stranger's house. "You're still up?" "Yeah," I said, eyes fixed on the screen. "How was the dinner?" She hesitated just for a fraction of a second. "Productive." He wanted to discuss some campaign strategies privately. "You know how he is." I didn't reply. I didn't ask why her lipstick was gone but her eyeshadow was still perfect. I didn't ask why her phone buzzed in her hand as she walked past me, her thumb darting over the screen faster than her excuses could keep up. Instead, I nodded. "I'm tired. Going to bed." I left her standing there, in the soft glow of the hallway light, looking at me like she wanted me to either yell or ask her 100 questions. But I didn't give her that power. The seeds of doubt. The next few days were a blur of polite smiles and shallow conversations. She acted as though nothing had happened. She sent me a link to some vacation spots. "Let's plan a getaway soon, just us two." I sent back a thumbs-up emoji. But inside something was unraveling. I started noticing things I had ignored before. Her boss, Richard, mid-40s, divorced, wealthy, had been calling her at odd hours. Once, while she showered, her phone lit up with his name at 11:47 p.m. I didn't touch it. I just stared until the screen went dark again. She began dressing differently for work. Not inappropriate, just sharper, more deliberate. And the way she smiled at her phone while stirring her coffee one morning, that wasn't a work smile. Still, I had no proof. Only a growing ache in my chest and a question that kept me awake at night. When did I stop being enough? The night it broke. 2 weeks later it happened again. Another private dinner. Another important project. This time, she didn't even tell me until I called her at 8 p.m. to ask if she'd be home soon. "Babe, I told you this morning. Richard needs me tonight. Don't wait up, okay?" I checked my messages. She hadn't told me. Something inside me snapped. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Just silently. Like a thread pulled too tight finally giving way. I said, "All right," and hung up. I didn't pack a bag. I didn't slam the door. I just put on my jacket, grabbed my keys and walked out. Past the photos on the wall, our wedding day, her laughing with cake on her nose. Past the couch where we'd spent countless Friday nights, and out into the night that suddenly felt colder than it should have. The walk away. I booked a cheap hotel room across town. I sat on the edge of the bed staring at the ceiling, my phone buzzing with her, just checking in texts that I didn't answer. I thought about 10 years, about how I had worked double shifts when she lost her job, how I'd driven 3 hours to surprise her during a bad week, how I'd planned this anniversary to remind her of us. And she had chosen a private dinner with her boss. It wasn't about the dinner. It wasn't even about Richard. It was about the choice. The reveal. The truth came, as it often does, quietly. A friend of mine, Daniel, who worked in the same building, called me a week later. He didn't know we were having problems. He didn't mean to hurt me. He just said, "Hey man, I didn't know you were cool with Anna and Richard going out so often. Saw them at that Italian place on 5th again last night. Looked pretty cozy." I didn't ask for details. I didn't need them. That night I went home. She was there, sitting on the couch with a glass of wine, watching something mindless. She looked up, startled. "You're home late." "I know," I said. My voice sounded distant, like it belonged to someone else. "I've been thinking." She put down her glass. "About what?" "About us." I met her eyes. "About how you chose him." "And probably more." Her face paled. "It's not like that. He's my boss. I'm trying to get promoted." I finished for her. "At the cost of your marriage." She opened her mouth, but no words came out. Just silence, heavy and suffocating. "I'm not going to fight you, Anna," I said finally. "I'm not going to beg for a place in my own marriage." And then I did what she never expected. I stood up, grabbed my jacket again and walked out. Divorce isn't a clean break. It's a slow bleed. I called. She cried. She said it was just dinners and networking and that I was overreacting. But when the papers were served, she didn't contest them. Maybe because deep down, she knew she had crossed a line she couldn't uncross. People ask me if I regret it. If I should have fought harder, tried counseling, given her another chance. But here's the truth. A marriage isn't just broken when someone cheats. It's broken the moment one person stops choosing the other, when they start choosing someone else's table over your shared one. The ending she never expected. 6 months later I walked past that same restaurant. The one where I waited alone with 2 plates of food growing cold. I didn't feel bitter anymore, just lighter. I heard she didn't get the promotion. Richard was transferred, and whatever private dinners they had didn't turn into anything permanent. I started over. New apartment, new job, new silence, but this time the peaceful kind. Sometimes the loudest thing you can say is nothing at all. I never yelled. I never begged. I just walked away without a word. And that silence said everything.